The Chicago Bulls in their preseason with a record of 1-4 in the preseason, with a long win coming against the Denver Nuggets throughout the 5 games that they played. So I'm here to break down the 5 takeaways that I got from the Chicago Bulls preseason. Y'all know we're going to talk about it, but you got to hear the music first.
Cognac, gang.
Shy Boys Podcast with the Cognac Boys. I'm Cognac Boy Bobby, and I'm holding it down on another episode of Shy Boys Podcast for me and my co-host. If you like what you're listening to today, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and shake the notification bell so every time we drop, you be one of the first ones to know. Now, I know there are some that are waiting on the voicemail bag episode. I will get that to y'all later today. But right now, I really want to focus on the key takeaways that I got from the Chicago Bulls this preseason. They ended their preseason with the loss yesterday against the Minnesota Timberwolves. No Zach LaVine out there, but they still had a lot of players in, and I still like what I seen out there. But hey, the record speaks for itself, but I'm not going to go ahead and harp on that too much. I believe the Bulls should be fine. Now, some of the key takeaways, at least my very first one from this preseason, I'm going to go ahead out on and say it. The Bulls have some young promising players, man. That's Julian Phillips, Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, and Patrick Williams. Julian Phillips, we talked about it a lot. You know what I'm saying? At least me and C-Dub, we even heard Steve-O on the live call mention it as well, that Julian Phillips is the perfect backup to DJJ. I believe this guy comes in with a better looking three-point shot, should be able to knock it down a little bit more. He comes in, gives you some juice offensively, and I believe he can be one of those pieces. Hey, if the Bulls are having a bad game or a bad start to a game, you can insert Julian Phillips within the lineup. Excuse me. You can insert Julian Phillips within that lineup so he can go out there and provide a spark at least for a few minutes to the team to make sure that these guys get themselves on track so they can go ahead and make sure things are happening well for them and they can get back on track and find themselves back in the game. This guy was able to have an impact offensively and defensively last night against the Minnesota Timberwolves, to where you seen him go up and for an alley-oop, and it was crazy. Go up for a block and touch the top of the square and hit his head on the rim. The guy has crazy bounce. The three-point shot looks good. He looked like he's able to attack the basket. Hey, this guy at one point was one of the top recruits. You know what I'm saying? It didn't pan out so well within Tennessee to where his stock fell a little bit. But, man, if he continues to develop within this Bulls organization, look like he can go ahead and continue to slow the game down for himself, I believe that Julian Phillips should be fine. Another person, Kobe White. I believe Kobe White is going to take another step forward this season. I believe now with the second offseason, he's working on that dribble, working on his game, and finding himself back up in that starter role. I believe he secured that already, and I believe that he should be good to go. Ayo Dosunmu, on the other hand, my guy had a solid freshman year, so kind of went into that sophomore slump, and now my guy's a junior, and making sure that he's having his presence felt whenever he's on the court. He's getting after it. He's sticking defense. He's getting out in transition. He's shooting that three with more confidence than last year. So I believe that's going to be another step forward for him as he could continue to progress and move on through his Chicago Bulls career thus far. And then Patrick Williams. Patrick Williams has been kind of up and down this preseason. I'll keep it a buck and say that. But if he can somehow continue to be aggressive within the offense and with the starters, he should be fine. Excuse me. Patrick Williams has came out and pretty much accepted the challenge set by Billy Donovan. It's being said by him that, hey, he told Billy Donovan, don't sugarcoat. Let me know I'm playing bad. Take me out the game when I'm playing bad. And I believe that shows maturity from Patrick Williams, and that gives him an opportunity to right his wrongs. You know what I'm saying? And we already said it. Big Kev, he was on one of the live calls, not last game, but the game before. It said, hey, Patrick Williams should be on a short leash with Billy Donovan. I kind of went against it a little bit early on, but it makes total sense. You know what I'm saying? It makes total sense. Billy Donovan has to not baby this guy. You know what I'm saying? The other players on this team should not baby this guy. And you've seen him be more aggressive in the last preseason game. The only thing I would like to mention is that, man, I wish Zach LaVine was there so we can see him do this with the entire starting lineup. So we can make sure that he is flowing within that lineup a lot better, just like we seen him in the last game. It's not about all the shots that he make. It's about his impact on the game. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, we want him to make more shots. Obviously, we want him to continue to be aggressive. And sometimes you're not going to have it. But one thing that you can say that, hey, he needs to bring it every single night with this type of aggression, whether the shots are fall or not, because it makes a difference within the game. And we know he can always lean on that defensive side of the ball and be able to make things happen for the Chicago Bulls. Going ahead out there and fighting for rebounds, going out there and getting into the paint and either attacking the basket or finding the open shooter. You know what I'm saying? We can nitpick on the type of pass that he's making. Maybe it wasn't all the way pinpoint, or it could have been almost been stolen. But the fact of the matter is that, hey, he's getting inside the paint, dishing the ball out so the ball can move around and other guys can get open shots. That's the type of things you want Patrick Williams to be able to contribute to, something that's not going to always show up in the box score. But if you watch the games, you want to see that aggression from him. Takeaway number 2 we should see more from the offense. I love all the player movement, all the off-ball movement. These guys are not seeming like they're watching a bunch of ISO ball. I think the ISO ball thus far has slowed down a little bit more. And I think the biggest thing is that can these guys make shots? I love what they're doing. They're finding guys, and guys are being open to the point to where they can take open shots. So you just want to see them, though they are open shots, you want to see them knock those shots down. So shout out to them. And then in the home games, they got 33 attempts from the 3-point line. And then in away games, 32. I say that's a good start. Of course, the biggest thing is the percentages are not that good. I think they be at 34% at home, which needs to improve if you want to be a team that's feared from the 3-point line. And then it's a little bit better on the road with, I believe, 39% or something like that on the road. So you want to be able to make sure that you can establish some consistency with that aspect of their offense. But overall, I think they should be fine. You should see some more juice from the offense, especially with all the moving pieces and all the moving players that are moving around during the offense, off the ball actions. You seeing different guys bringing up the ball, operating. You know what I'm saying? You seen P. Will do a little bit. Kobe White obviously is going to do his. DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine, when he was out there, you seen these guys try to, create some actions and have the offense kind of flow through them to where they can create for others. That's 4 different guys within that starting lineup who is very, very capable. And you even see Nick Vooch have a spectacular bounce pass on a back cut to Patrick Williams. Patrick Williams couldn't fully hold on to the ball, but it was a great pass by Vooch. If he holds on to that ball, it's an easy layup or dunk. So you see, you got some signs right there. It's all about establishing that consistency now. The third takeaway from the preseason game, at least for me, is that the second unit might have some juice. The second unit actually might have some juice. The lineup that the Bulls have been playing out there for that second unit with Alex Caruso, Torrey Craig, Javon Carter, Ayo, and Drummond, I think that's a pretty good second unit. You know what I'm saying? You got these guys. You got the big guy that's going to go ahead and make sure he's giving you a chance at extra chances to, make some plays on the offensive side, and Drummond with his rebounding ability. Then you got 3 for sure ball handlers and Alex Caruso, Javon Carter, and Ayo. And then you got Torrey Craig, the guy that's going to come out there, play physical, play smart basketball, and then still be a threat from the 3-point line, just like the other 3 guys previously mentioned. So I believe they will have some juice, and I think they will be able to get in the faces of the opponent on most nights and be able to either help close the gap between the lead, help maintain a lead, or push a lead forward. I think they will be able to do that because these guys can also get out and run. And then again, previously mentioned it, the 3-point shooting. So I think that second unit might have some juice. We just got to go ahead and establish some consistency. Now that the guys won't be rotating in and out so much at a high rate, these guys should be able to become a cohesion second unit. And we'll see what happens once the real games start to roll through next week. The fourth takeaway from the preseason, and this one hurts a little bit. I'm going to keep it a buck. Dalen Terry needs to show some improvement ASAP. And I'm not saying he needs to take some crazy jump. He doesn't need to take a crazy jump, but he needs to start to see some established consistency from Dalen Terry to what he can add for the Chicago Bulls. You know what I'm saying? Because if you asking me as of right now, you know what I'm saying, during this episode, after the last preseason game, Dalen Terry has fallen behind Julian Phillips, in my opinion. Dalen Terry, I still think that the game has not slowed down for him. I would like to point out that, hey, this guy did not receive much playing time, last season. He's been trying to find his way within there. And I think with more reps, you should start to see a little bit more from him. So hopefully he can get himself out there, get some more reps. Maybe he can come in and be an energy guy or give somebody a break or, fill in if some guys, go down with an injury or need the rest for a particular night. He can go out there and give you some reps. I think he just needs to slow down a little bit more. I think he needs to go ahead and really, really start to work on that handle because it's still a bit too sloppy for me and my liking. I think he needs to tighten it up. I think that he needs to go ahead and figure out better ways to attack the basket or add to his bag while attacking the basket, because you see him, go to the basket, but he doesn't have that certain touch that you need off the backboard so he can create opportunities for himself and put points up on the board, especially when he has those opportunities. And then sometimes when he's driving to the basket, he just got his mind made up and he's trying to go against 2 or 3 guys that's right there, those trees trying to block a shot. And then you see him just kind of try to chuck it up. It gets blocked. It's a bad shot and things like that. So if he can add maybe driving to the basket, a quick stop out, pull up jumper or something like that, or be more decisive with getting the ball out of his hands a lot sooner instead of just having his head down and being like, man, I got to score. You can go ahead and develop a creator's mind and just kind of, once you get those other guys drawed in, let's focus on some kickouts or something to the corner, or let's try to create some better plays for other guys. So I think Dalen Terry needs to show some improvement ASAP because all last season, we was like, hey, get Dalen Terry some minutes, and rightfully so. And that was the flame. And right now, that flame is starting to fizzle out a little bit in favor of Julian Phillips. We want to see Julian Phillips a little bit more now. You know what I'm saying? At least for me, I'm not going to speak for everybody else, but y'all can go ahead and let me know how y'all feeling about that particular thing. But I think right now, Dalen Terry, man, he kind of seems stuck in the mud. Some of that is on the organization for the limited reps that he received last season, and some of it is on him. You know what I'm saying? He really got to work on his game. I'm happy that he was able to this offseason to go work out with DeMar. I think he needs to go ahead and work out with DeMar a little bit more, hire somebody to help train him, maybe like a dribble too much so he can go ahead and tighten up that dribble and get a little bit better. But I definitely still think that he needs to improve like ASAP. You need to go out here and start showing some consistency and show that you're not going to be so erratic on the basketball court, for sure. And the last takeaway from the preseason, it's going to come with Zach LaVine looks like he's going to be the Bulls' leading scorer. And I just think that with this offense moving the way that it's going to move, I think it's going to limit DeMar DeRozan's attempts in the painted area. I really do. I think it's going to limit that. I think it's going to slow it down a little bit more to where the ball is going to be continuously moving a lot more. And there's going to be more opportunities at the 3 for Zach LaVine. This is a guy that said he wants to shoot 10 attempts per game. So if he can go ahead and keep his percentages up with attempting 10 threes per game and knock down the majority of them, you know what I'm saying, at least at a good clip, you still see the ball in the basket a little bit more. And then with all those guys that are now shooting more threes, you're seeing DeMar DeRozan get into that a little bit more. You got in your starting lineup Kobe White, Patrick Williams, who's going to space the floor a lot more since now they are known to be 3-point shooters and guys who can knock it down. And Nikola Vucevic, your center, is a guy that also spaces the floor as well. So now this opened up more driving opportunities for Zach LaVine as well, so he can go ahead and do what he has to do to put the ball in the basket. I really believe that Zach LaVine looks like he's going to be the Bulls' leading scorer this season versus DeMar DeRozan being that guy the last 2 seasons. So I really look at that and look at the way that the offense is changing and looking at the way that the team profile is changing and the want to change their shooting profile as well. I believe Zach LaVine has the game that can go ahead and push him to the forefront as the Bulls' leading scorer. So that's my five takeaways from the preseason from the Chicago Bulls. Number one, the Bulls have some young, promising players. Number two, we should see more from the offense. Number three, the second unit might have some juice. 4, Dalen Terry needs to show improvement ASAP. And 5, Zach LaVine looks like he's going to be the leading scorer for the Chicago Bulls. Down below, you let me know how you feeling about those 5 takeaways. Drop some of your own takeaways, and then we can go ahead and chop it up for the day and see where we at from there. And again, if you are still waiting on that mailbag episode, I am going to get that out to y'all later in the evening to make sure that you have your voices heard right here on Shy Bulls Podcast with me reacting to it, and just go ahead and putting out that content for y'all so y'all can go ahead and see how we chop it up on Shy Bulls Podcast. If you want to be a part of the episode, make sure you go ahead and call in. Number is 773-242-9219. And of course, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, hit for all your latest Bulls content, and hit the notification bell because we will be bringing all the fire content that we possibly can bring for the Chicago Bulls 2023-2024 campaign. Hey, that's it for me today. It's another episode of Shy Bulls Podcast. I'm Bobby, holding it down for C-Dub. Y'all know I'm going to catch y'all on the next one for sure.
Cognac. Gang.